Hey guys, it's Andy Coleman, and I have a special guest with me today. This is actually Ricky Carruth's sponsor, Joe Sinnona. He's with EXP Realty. And Joe, very nice to see you and have you on here. Just say a few words about yourself.
Hi, how are you? Nice to be on your show, Andy, and thank you for making that special announcement. My name is Joe Sinnona. I've been in the business for 35 years. This is my 35th year, and I'm just as excited of real estate just as I was 35 years ago when I first got started at the tender age of 19.
Oh, jeez. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's a long time to be doing real estate for. So wait, really quick too, before we move on. How did you become Ricky Carruth's sponsor? I think everybody wants to know that.
Ricky and I are friends since 2018, and we formed a bond when I met him through Instagram. And it's not a big a story. It's just that when he decided to join EXP, he asked me to be his sponsor, and I was very surprised, and at the same time honored to be in that position to say yes. And it was great. It was absolutely a wonderful feeling. It was almost as if somebody had asked me to marry them all over again.
Whoa. So wait, so back in 18, did Ricky have he has like what, quarter of a million followers right now. What, did he have a lot of followers back then too?
He had a lot of followers back then, and he could have chosen anyone to be his sponsor in EXP Realty. And I'm glad he chose me. And I think it was because I didn't throw up on him with information. We developed a friendship, and as he always says, relationships over transactions. So I'm a good listener, and I think I'm the balance between his inspirational and craziness as a speaker. I'm a fellow speaker, so we instantly bonded in 2018. And in 2020, I believe it was in January of 2020, I had asked him to be my guest speaker at my Lead to List event. I do a Lead to List event annually here in New York, and he was my guest speaker. And then I brought him to an EXP event at the stock market that same day, and we were just hanging out, and I introduced him to Glenn Sanford, the owner of EXP,
Whoa.
and from that point on, Glenn and he bonded. And about a few days later, he told me he was going to join EXP. And I said, that's great. And I didn't even ask him who was going to be his sponsor. I just said, that's awesome. I'm glad that, we went to that stock market rally, and it was the day that EXP stock was unveiled. And
Whoa.
yeah, it was a great night for EXP. It was a great night for me because I had joined the company in April of 19. Ricky wasn't part of the company, but Ricky helped me choose a broker because I was looking for one for the past year. And I said to him, it's between this company and EXP. Which one should I choose? He goes, why don't you go to EXP? They sound like they have a great model and a great company, and they're very good, and they're virtual. And I said, all right, no problem. So I did some more negotiating and more soul searching and thinking, and then I chose them. And then, like I said, we went to the stock market together, stock exchange, and we rang the bell on the stock exchange, and then we had the reception afterward. And he had met Glenn Sanford, and Glenn Sanford and he instantly bonded, and they exchanged phone numbers. And Glenn had asked him to come into EXP World that Sunday evening. And I'll tell you, that Sunday evening class usually generates about 50 to 60 agents, in the virtual world. Ricky brought an audience of 480 people, including myself,
Whoa.
and he was phenomenal. He was fantastic. He was giving away his trade secrets, his coaching, his free coaching, and it was just awesome because I was, this is my friend, who I introduced to EXP. And then when he finally said, I'm going to join EXP, I didn't ask him who his sponsor was going to be. He actually told me that he had a choice between another group of people that wanted him in their downline. And he says, and then I got another choice. He says, between a guy in New York, this guy in New York named Joe Sinnona. And
That
my
was you.
mouth up, and I was on the phone. I was like, so it was
Oh
nice.
my
It was,
God.
and his wife got on the phone and she introduced herself to me, and she said, "Would you be our sponsor?" And it was like
Oh
a
my
marriage
God.
proposal. It was
Yeah,
awesome,
that's incredible.
because
Joe,
and that's
that,
the way friendship should be.
yeah, and because Ricky is, for the listeners out there that don't know who Ricky Carruth is, definitely check out his Instagram page, just Ricky Carruth. Check out his YouTube channel. He just crossed 100,000 subscribers. Congrats, Ricky, if you're watching this. Yeah, he
Hey,
is
we
one
got
of
him a
the
cake
biggest.
too.
You got him a kid. Oh, that. Oh, I
Me
like
and
that.
my
Yeah,
sponsor bought him a cake, so
good.
yeah, just
Uh,
to
he
congratulate him. We
deserves.
thought it was
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, he deserves it. He did a lot of hard work. So yeah, he basically is probably one of the most well known, if not the most well known EXP agents that is in the company. Out of 90,000 agents, he's probably number one, well known. Would you probably agree with that?
Yeah, and it's in our company, it's a culture of collaboration. He's willing to help people that are not directly sponsored by us in our downline. So and he's a very giving person. Free coaching is by far the his signature. That's his
Yeah.
signature. And when somebody gives you free coaching, you have to doubt it, because nothing in life comes for free. And that's how we met, actually, because somebody had introduced us to each other. And I said, if you're full of BS, I said to him, I said, then I'll walk away quietly. I said, because nobody gives away free coaching. But if you're true to your form, you will call me within 30 seconds of receiving this message. And he called me. And
Whoa.
he said, "What's up? What can I do for you?" And I was like, I
Wow.
was stunned, because I said,
Yeah.
no motivational speaker has ever done that to me, and no one
Jeez.
has ever reached out like that.
Because
And
you're
that's
a
how we,
motivational speaker, right? Is it because
yes,
you're
I
you're a
do.
motivational speaker as well,
Yes,
right? So you
yes,
because wait, so you were doing motivational speaking before you even met him. So I
yeah.
mean, were you like a mentor to him, or how
No,
did that
no.
all work?
Actually,
No.
I'll tell you the ironic part about meeting Ricky, which I think it was meant to be. He wrote a book called List to Last.
Whoa.
That's his latest book, called List to Last. And about a year prior to him writing that book, and I had not known him, I wrote a course called a real estate course called Lead to List.
Oh,
So he wrote
jeez,
List
that's
to Last and
another
Lead to
person.
List, and I'm like, wow! Like, I
What
found
the
that
heck?
to be completely odd in some
Coincidental.
way, shape,
Yeah.
or form, and I was like, wow! I mean, here's the, like, sort of polar opposite of who we are.
Yeah.
He's got obviously a lot of popularity in his YouTube followers,
And I,
and
yeah.
generally he coaches over 15,000 agents. Like, he knows 15,000 agents. I don't
So
even know
then,
15,000
no, I
agents.
know
you
it's a
know
lot of agents. So then, a
so
question
so
then.
I coach
So
my people. I coach them,
yeah,
and
yeah.
in fact, he inspired me to coach my people for free. I don't charge either.
Wow. Oh my God,
So
that's
I
incredible.
was
What do you?
charging up to that point, and then when he said, I don't charge, I go, well, listen, if you don't charge, I can't charge.
And then
But
what's happening with that then? You're giving your time away for free to agents that join under you for EXP?
no, I give away my time to everybody, and as a result of that, I'm attracting people to my organization, because it's
Oh,
not
I
a
see.
recruitment tactic, it's a
I see.
attraction. If they see me successful, they see Ricky successful, they're going to join us, because we're trying to help them to get better at their craft.
I see. I see. So you guys want to, and it's worked well for Ricky's. I know Ricky has like what 1,000 agents under him, in his downline. As he's the
Almost a
sponsor.
thousand, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
almost 1,000. And what about you? How many do you have?
I have almost 1,000 through Ricky, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah.
So all
Ricky
right,
is, I sponsor him, and he sponsors
got
a
it.
whole bunch of people, and
Got it. So aside
he
from Ricky,
he's
then
been a
how
very
many
good
do you
business
have?
partner to me.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
But
100%.
I have other people that I
Yeah,
sponsor
that's
directly.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
I
asking. Like, how
I
many
have
other people do you
about
sponsor directly?
I have about 33, 34 people under me, including
Okay,
Ricky,
so
and
let,
those are my direct. And you know, I
let
was
me
taught
ask
to
though.
build a 40
'Cause
wide base. You know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask though, because that leads me to my next question, which is very important. So Ricky has 1,000 agents under him. You have 40 under you. You guys are both giving away coaching for free. Why do you think he has more agents than you do, though? Because that's very important for listeners that are starting to try to join
Well,
EXP.
you know
Like, why
what?
do you think it
Because
worked better for
you
him?
have to build it over time. You don't. It's not a something where you wave a magic wand and voila, you have 1,000 people. It's a course of building relationships, and you got to make sure that those relationships are solid enough that you retain the people that are with you. You know, at one point, through attrition, you're going to lose people, and then the people are going to lose interest in the business itself, not just go to other companies. Let me put it this way: there's a culture in every company,
Yeah.
and we have our culture, and people have their culture. And that's why I don't knock companies. I don't put them down, because everybody is comfortable where they are. It's when they don't, when they are no longer comfortable, when the culture shifts and they're no longer comfortable, they'll start seeking me out. And,
Yeah. Because
it's through social
EXP's
media, hopefully, that they will.
Yeah, because EXP's model is fantastic. I mean, it's the only brokerage I've ever been with, but I'll never leave. I freaking love it so much. Like, just all of our, like rev share and all the good stuff that we have with the stock, the icon, 100% commission. Like, I mean, geez, I can go on and on and on. And I probably talked about this a million times in other videos,
I'll
but
tell
I mean,
you,
EXP is
I was
incredible.
attracted also to the medical piece of EXP.
Oh, oh, the health
Healthy.
insurance.
What
Yeah.
do they say? Rich men become sick men, right? That was the old
Yeah.
adage. And
Oh,
so I didn't want to be a sick person and have unaffordable health care. So
oh,
when the affordable healthcare came to EXP, I jumped all over that, because I was paying
yeah.
$2,000 plus for a
Oh,
family of four. I pay $840 a month
what?
for a family of four.
That's incredible right now. And then also too, I know that you said before you were doing real estate for 35 years. So you've also probably done a lot of deals up until, this point, right? So I just want to talk about your deals that you've done up until this point. Like, how many 35 years is a long time. Like, I don't even know where to begin here. Like, I guess just
Well,
talk us through, because you said you were very
I have
successful.
over
So
3,000 clients that refer
3,000
me
clients.
business. And,
Oh, that's a big database.
over the years, I've had a lot of good new ones that, also I've gone through a steady decline of clients who,
Oh,
I'm dealing with third generation now
oh
of,
my
of
God. Oh,
clients.
35 years. You would
Third
be. Yeah, you
generation is
would
a
be.
long time to be in the business, and to
Wow.
service, and to watch the grandmothers and the grandfathers pass away has been quite sad, because we're all friends at that point. When you're serving a
Yeah.
third generation of people, you go to their funerals, you go you celebrate their triumphs, their
Yeah.
failures, their graduations, everything about it. I've actually done two eulogies in my
Oh,
career for my clients.
jeez.
That's how sad it is, to watch
Oh,
people, leave, get sick, relocate to your neck of the woods too. Most of my clients live in Florida
Florida.
now, but
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
but
Florida's the best place on earth.
oh my
No,
goodness,
not in
I think
America. Florida's the
I
best
think
place in
it's
America, I
I
think.
think it's an adult playland.
That's
Adult
amazing. It's incredible. Yeah.
an
There's no
adult.
better place. Because I've been in the Northeast. I've been out in California. I haven't lived in like Texas or Arizona. Yeah, I heard those are popular, but like Florida, I love it over here so
It's
much.
a
It's like I
it's a
wake up in
daycare
paradise every
for
day.
adults. It really
Ah, it's
is.
incredible. Oh, it's so cool.
It's a
So
happy place. It really is.
it truly is. So I had a question for you. So 35 years, you got 3,000 clients that you've worked with. What I'm curious about, because I've only been doing this 4 years, and, I've done 700 deals in 4 years now.
That's awesome.
I've done a lot of deals right now. But what was your best year that you've done? I want to know what was your best year that you had? How many deals did you close?
I think my best year was 2005, 2006. Myself and an agent that I used to have when I ran my own real estate office, we turned over about 103 townhouses with sales and
Whoa,
rentals. About
whoa. So,
103. That was
you
just
did
the
rentals too?
townhouses alone.
You did, because you did rental. Because I'm the master
Yeah,
of
I do.
rentals.
I,
You
I
did
do a
rentals?
little bit of everything, but
Oh
but the
wow.
but my rental year, my biggest rental year was 2013, where I did almost 120 rentals in
Jeez,
that
that's a
year
lot. That's a
because
lot.
it was as a result of Superstorm Sandy, and there were no
Yeah.
sales because people were fixing up their
Yeah.
houses. So I lived off the rentals.
I love that you just said that because guess what's happening right now for most agents, and you know this, there's a 90% failure rate for agents. So a lot of agents right now, it's not a buyer's market, not a seller's market. So what, because nobody wants to buy, they only need to buy right now. Like if you need to, you're gonna buy. If you need to sell, you need to sell. But nobody wants to right now because the interest rates are so high, the prices are so high, the inventory is so low. It's a bad time. So what you did during the Sandy era, the hurricane back then, you pivoted to rentals, and that's exactly what I'm doing and been doing for a very long time now, is doing the rentals, because guess what, it provides you a ton of potential buyers later, plus a ton of fast commission. Right now my average commission is probably different than back when you were doing it. I make almost $2,000, sometimes more actually, per month, per deal. So if I could do 30, 40, 50 deals in a month, that's a lot of commission for working with renters. And that's because I have a team now. Doing it as a solo agent, I only did about 250 alone.
Yeah,
And this year now,
I
yeah, I
think
did.
I think I did about $150,000
In
in
rentals. Okay,
rental
so your commission
rental
was a little.
commission.
It was about $1,000 commission back
Yeah,
then. But everything's gone up now in
in
price.
2013 it was about
Yeah.
150. I lived
Well, you
that
should
year.
start.
I
You should start doing them
that
again.
was my normal salary with sales
Yeah,
at that
we should.
time.
I know,
You
and
know,
it's the craziest thing, because all these brokers and mentors and team leaders are like, no, 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 don't do rentals, don't do rentals. They don't pay any money. You can't do this and that. But like, you're a living testament, because you've been doing this 35 years. It is the smartest pivot you can possibly do. It's
yeah.
it's like a niche that nobody talks about. Like there's the buyer niche and the seller niche, right? You get listings, you get buyers for purchases, but nobody talks about the rental niche. Like that's a third unheard of niche, which I am literally, that's my mission. That's how you met me. That's how
That's
you
how I
met me,
met you.
is
Yeah.
at
That's
the conference,
exactly how I
the
met
event.
you, because when you
Yeah.
announced that you did that many rentals, I said I want to meet this guy because you're sitting on a gold mine, but I'll reserve
Of
that one
buyers.
for my podcast.
I know. Yeah, we'll chat about that in your podcast. But all my renters, because I have a lot of them, and that's gonna be. Listen, even I haven't even made a video on this yet, and I think I'm gonna make a full video. But I think something crazy is gonna happen with the market. I have a good prediction for when the market's gonna bottom out in 2024. Like best time to buy, and then I have a good prediction for the next time, which is probably gonna be in like 26. We could talk about that in your podcast, though. I don't want to
No
give it all
problem.
away
You
right
want to
now.
hear my
Um,
predictions on your podcast?
Sure. What's your market predictions right now? Yeah.
My
What do you think is going to happen with
predictions
the market?
are, well, I think that we're going through a little bit of a turbulent time. I think that the interest rates are going to stay a little high, and you're going to start to see the pricing drop. This is a very different, remember, this is a different market than in 94, 97. You got to count how many times the market has been cyclical, which is like a 10-year period roughly. So within a 10-year period, you have a market that's very turbulent
Oh
these
yeah.
last 10 years. So now that we're watching this market, inflate, go down, and it's almost like a seesaw, because you watch the absorption rate levels, and you see that in some towns the absorption rate is less than 30 days, and then you see in other towns here in New York that the absorption rates are like almost 6 months, and you say to yourself, is that a buyer's market? Is the other one a seller's market? And it's almost like watching a seesaw, you
Yeah.
know so
So
you
what?
say to yourself, okay, something's got to give. The seller either has to sell or the buyer has to buy. But the buyer is not fooled. They're going to wait for the interest rates to drop a little bit. And if we wait for that to happen, we might as well wait another 10 years, right? But
Yeah.
anyone who buys a house today, the average rule of thumb is 7 to 10 years. We're talking 10 to 15 to almost 20 years before somebody can turn around and profit.
So yeah, because I have an interest. So you think what I'm hearing now is that you think the market is gonna go a little bit lower until they
Pricing
drop
is going to
interest
start
rates.
to drop a little bit.
Yeah. Now
And
when do you
this,
think
yeah, and this is the
I'm
time for
I'm
the
gonna save it?
seller to
Yeah.
sell.
I'm gonna save it then because I have something. I have a theory that's gonna blow your freaking mind. You've been doing this a lot longer than me, so I'm curious to see what you think about my theory. I'm gonna save it for next Sunday. When are we doing it? Sunday, the November 13th.
No, we're
I think it's
going. No, I thought we were doing the 19th.
19th. Yeah, I
The
think it's
19th.
Sunday the 19th. We're gonna do it
The
YouTube live.
19th.
I'm gonna finally drop my prediction, and I'm telling you, I've been doing so much research on this. I
Well,
think I'm
well,
spot on.
the rest of mine is that the pricing is going to drop a little bit, and it's going to shake a little bit of the tree of, when you start to feed the wolf, right? Eventually the wolf will go away. So the
Yeah,
wolf of buyers today, they're waiting for the interest rate, and some people can't wait. So they're going to buy. Once you've
the needs.
satisfied that hunger, then the inventory is going to start to build. Why is it going to build? Because sellers are going to think that they still can get what they can get right now. But it's going to be too late because the market is not going to. We as real estate agents know that the comparables have an expiration date on them.
I
And
know.
if they wait more than 3 months, even 3 months, that's too long. So this is the time to sell your property and move somewhere or rent somewhere until the prices drop, because the pricing is going to drop
Oh
eventually.
yeah. See that I 100% agree with you there, but I think so. I'm dying to say this, but I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till the whatever November 19th. I'm gonna wait to that because
Wait for
I'm gonna
November
tell you
19th.
exactly what I think is gonna happen. But you are right though. The price is gonna drop. I mean
I
that's
think the pricing will
undeniable,
drop, and I think that's when
undeniable.
the things will start moving a little bit, in the direction that the seller wants and the buyer wants. It's not necessarily what we want. It's not about us. It's about them, and they, will give us the direction where we supposed to, pivot. Right now,
Yeah.
my pivoting skills are telling me go for listings, go and help the seller, go and help the renter. The renter is where the butter, what is it, the bread and butter
Bread and
is.
butter. Yes, it truly
Exactly.
is. I'll tell you this, Joe. So last year, did 500,000 in commission, net commission, Icon Agent EXP. This year, I'm probably going to do 750 to a million. I don't know yet. I got some big deals in the
Incredible.
works. I'm going to at least hit 750 this year. And I have a team, and it's mainly rentals. I think we're probably going to have done at least 350 rentals this year, something like that. I have two agents that are, working with me right now, which is different than last year, which I was completely solo. So yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, you want to start working with renters immediately. Like, if anybody's listening to this, that's a realtor
And
right
think
now,
about all
like,
those
literally
buyers.
drop. Oh my God! Not it. Honestly, like the buyers are going to be amazing. Like when the market shifts, and it will shift. Like within, I'm going to give my prediction on Joe's podcast, but the market will shift. And I'll tell you this: even in the meantime, you can get, like, even Joe said he was getting $1,000 commission back in 2013. Nowadays it's more. Like, you can truly get around $2,000 if you play your cards right and you do the rental system correctly. You could get around $2,000 commission per deal. So if you're stacking them up, even if you're only doing 10 every single month, that's what, $20,000. And 10 rental deals in a month is like child's play. That's easy to do. That's, that's like to me, that's like child's play. So that's an extra 20 grand a month. Plus you add on the buyers and sellers on top of that, and then the future buyers on top of that. And I mean, it's incredible how much money you can make right now in real estate. I'm truly stunned when I hear agents say, "Oh my God, I can't make any money in real estate right now. It's a terrible market." I said, "What the hell are you talking about? This is the best market we've had in like 4 years. Like I am making money hand over fist right now, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with it all right now because
Well,
it's
I'll
the
tell
best
you.
rental."
Well, listen, I'll give you my bank account if you don't know what to do with your money. But
No, I'm not. I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but I'm
um,
seriously though.
but
Like, it is
but
truly the
if
best market.
Right, it is the best market, but the thing is, the mindset is not there for a lot of agents because they don't want to do the work. They don't want to work hard. They don't want to put their head down. They don't want to, I'm also an instructor, here in New York, a real estate instructor. I wear a lot of hats. And
Yes, you
and the
do.
reason why I chose to be an instructor because I came from a teaching background before I got into real estate. And I will tell you that education is key in this real estate world for a new agent, even for an agent like yourself who's been in the business a couple of years and needs, that professional development. And a lot of people don't realize that that is the foundation for our business. And if we
It's
usually tap into our cornerstone of education, we can get better knowledge and bring that knowledge to the industry where people will view us as, just people that are in the industry. They'll view us as people who are honest, who are living by a higher standard, the code of ethics. A lot of people do not know the inside scoop, if you will, of the real estate community and how it's so needed right now in a time where AI is trying to control everything. And, I can get on my soapbox and I can say, to people, how ignorant are you? Or how educated do you want to be? Because that's what really we do with people. We educate them
no.
on the buying, the selling, the renting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Knowledge is power, and it always has been, and it always will be. The more knowledge you have, and basically, I like to call it homework, like doing your homework. Like back when you were in school, you do your research
Right.
and you study and you do trial and error, like real time,
Mhm.
exercises. You go out in the real world and you get stuff done, but you also have to research and, like Joe was saying, like you got to train yourself. Whether you use somebody else or do it on your own. I mean, honestly, obviously if you use somebody else, it's a shortcut. You will save a ton of time, trial and error, because they're going to teach you things not to do, and like they've already learned from making mistakes, so they'll teach you what not to do. And if you're like open-minded enough to listen to them, you will save a lot of time and money, and obviously make more money because you're going to get things done more efficiently, faster. You're not going to make as many mistakes, but you could also do it on your own. You could research on your, like me personally, I did everything on my own. I never got like a mentor. I never got like a coach or a teacher or anything. I literally just learned from scratch on my own, and I liked it that way. For me, it's like fulfilling. But at the same time, if I had somebody like me that was like, oh my God, here's the blueprint, like, just in particular for rentals, if somebody gave me the blueprint and was like, this is how you make $500,000 a year, and you could do this within your next 360 days, I would have been like, okay, sign me up right away. You know what I mean? But I didn't have that whatsoever. I was there. It didn't exist when I started doing this 4 years ago. So that's why I'm literally doing this for agents right now, because I did not have that. And I want to give back to agents. Now, listen, I'm not doing it for free, because I'll tell you right now, I've done about 50 something sessions, where I teach my program, and the results people are getting are literally mind blowing. I
Good.
am I am literally, Joe, I'm telling you right now. I know, I understand the whole free thing with, you and Ricky do the free thing, which is fucking incredible, and I really like hearing that. But the results that people are getting, I'm like, I'm not charging enough. I'm truly, in my mind, I'm like, I'm getting ripped off. I'm getting scammed by giving too cheap of
Well,
a price
remember,
point.
I
People
said
are
I
making too much.
teach also, so I do make a living teaching,
Oh, you
but I
do?
also, I feel that there's a candle in our lives. People, you have a candle, I have a candle, and people take from that candle. And if we can light things up amongst ourselves, just, somebody takes your knowledge, my knowledge. Think about that rate that you just told everybody 90% of all new agents fail in their first year. That's astounding.
Bad.
Why can't we
Bad.
bring that rate down by putting more of ourselves, more of our education to our agents out there in the field that are literally swimming with their hands up and they are drowning year after year because nobody is giving them the proper direction. And their
I,
brokers, their
yeah.
managers, half of them suck because they want them to swim with the sharks and they go learn on your own, kiddo. Meanwhile, we
I
have a
know.
platform where every day we're learning on the virtual platform, and we have 60 classes a week in the virtual
Oh,
platform that if somebody
incredible.
just wants to turn on their computer, they just turn on their computer and they learn. But more importantly, we have mentors too. And we
Yeah.
see EXP figured out all the stuff that I, as a new agent, had to figure out on my own. And I remember back in 1989, I was listening to tape cassettes of Tom Hopkins, and he was my
Ooh.
first mentor. So you fast track it now to 2023, and people have this opportunity to listen to Les
Ooh.
Brown, Brian Buffini, Tony Robbins, Nick Santanastasa, all these people that are out on the stage, Ed Milet, all these people
Ricky
that
Carruth.
yeah, Ricky Carruth, Daryl Davis, all these people that are so good at what they can impart to people, that's the inspirational side. But what about the
Yeah.
people that can educate them in the field? And
Yes.
brokers and managers, they don't want to educate their agents because they're afraid that those same agents will leave them and start their own companies.
Oh,
How dare you think that
yeah.
way? Light the
That's interesting.
candle.
Hmm.
Light the candle of education. And this way, you'll get it back tenfold because that agent's going to remember who made the difference in their lives. I was not
Well,
a floater. You know what a floater is?
yeah. No.
Somebody that goes from this office to that office to this,
Oh,
the
same here.
next shiny
Yeah.
object syndrome. I never fell prey to that because I'm a loyal person. My term was always 5 years, 10 years, 10
Yeah.
years. I was always a very loyal agent because I
Well,
believed in the culture of the company. Well, if the
yeah.
culture of the company sucks, people are going
Then
to
stop.
walk out
Yeah.
that door
Yeah.
and go to companies like EXP
Yeah.
that are offering a different type of culture. It could be the same philosophy, but it could be like a breath of fresh air.
I like that you said that because I'll tell you this. It was the funniest coincidence you said that because I had an agent of mine and I was like, oh, what's your 5-10 year plan? They said because they're with the XP now, he's doing incredible. I taught him the whole rental system. He made 10K last month in his first month ever of doing real estate. He made $10,000 in his first month. I was like,
Incredible.
holy crap. It's pretty cool. But regardless of that, he said that he wants to start his own brokerage, and I was like, what the hell? He was like, yeah, he's like 2 or 3 years. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of money. I'll get up to making $500,000 a year like you, and then I'm gonna go and start my own brokerage. I said, why the hell are you gonna do that? And then he
Let him
couldn't
call
explain it
me,
to me. He
Andy.
could,
Let him call
yeah,
me. I'll talk
no,
him right out of it.
I told him everything that you're saying now. I basically told him, and I was like, listen, man, we got guys like Ricky Carruth, Joe Sinnona out there, these big shots. We got the George Philbecks, the Paul Sapersteins. I mean, these big agents out there, that can and have started their own brokerages before and then left. They shut them down, they stopped them, and he was like, wait, why? And I was like, because listen, man, you don't want the headaches. You gotta save all the records and report everything to FREC and the DBPR. I'm like, you don't want these headaches. Like, what if you get sued? You got to carry insurance. I'm like, you don't want to do that. Like, you can literally, with EXP in particular, because I won't join any other brokerage because I've been approached and I said, no, because I make over 100% commission with the whole Icon stock and the rev share and everything. I literally make over
Right.
100% commission. So I'm like, dude, you can't do that on your own. You don't have the headaches. You don't have the stresses, anxiety. I'm like, and I told him all
You
of this
mean
stuff. He was
this
like, you know what?
icon
You're right.
statue? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the one I got right back there too. Where's that? I'm gonna try to point. And then right there.
Now,
Yeah, you see it
now,
right there. I
now,
got 3 of
for
them.
us, now I listen. I love statuettes like this when they represent something more than just recognition. And that we're in that season. We're in the award season. The end of the year. My statue and Andy's statue is worth $16,000 in
Sure is.
stock.
Yeah, which
Right.
is
This
better
is
than cash. Better.
this is
That's better.
$16,000 in stock. Right? You get this back once you've capped and completed 20 transactions.
And
So
then Joe, the
this
craziest part
means
about the
something.
stock,
What?
the whole thing about the stock, which I absolutely like, I'm like, people don't even like recognize this, because I'm sure you got a lot of your stock last year at $10 a share, right? You know what I mean? Like $10 a share. I mean, the stock went up to what, 150 or something like that
It
before it
was
split in half, did a
at the
2 for 1
height of
split.
the pandemic, it was 160 and it split.
Whew, Jesus.
So I
Imagine
got
it goes
all
back
my
up.
stock there as it rose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, portfolilios are going to rise and fall. But the
Yes.
key thing
Just
is
don't
that you
panic
put
still.
the money away.
Yes.
You
Don't
get a
look at
little
it. Don't touch
piece
it.
of the stock as you're making your transactions. They buy the stock at $10 a share. I'm
Yes.
sorry, 10% discount.
Oh, you get
And
that too.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and that's how you gain, you earn the stock. There are some companies where they give stock, right?
But it's worth
And
nothing.
you got to wait a year. You got to wait a
Yeah.
year for that stock. Or what about companies whose stock dropped
I know.
considerably? Our stock is still doing very well. We're $1 billion company. We
I think
have
2 billion.
no brick and mortar offices, which is
Yeah.
awesome
No overhead, or
because
the overhead's
most
low.
people work from home anyway.
I know,
You
I
know,
know. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Like it's literally a game changer. And I'm like, I could not be happier. And then, I mean, because my agent asked me too, and I've been asked a bunch of times, like, why don't you start your own brokerage? And I'm like, no chance, no shot. I'm like, they treat me
I
way
won't
too good.
ever.
It's too big of a family. I'm like, I'll never do it. I'm with the XP for life, and that's like, that's hard to say. You know what I mean? Like doing so well right now, I have so many opportunities. So
Yeah.
many companies are approaching me, and I just keep telling them, I'm like, you cannot offer me
It,
what this
you
company
know
has
what,
offered me. You
Andy?
can't do it.
It's wonderful that they do approach you. Like I just got an offered to be a manager at a very big franchise firm in the United States, and my the local franchise asked me to manage their office, and I thought it was awesome that at my stage in the game, my age and your age, we're getting recruited or people want us not because of the recruitment, but because of the attraction, because we
Yeah.
got something in us that most companies are looking for, and that's called talent, right? And they have seen that we have the secret sauce to success. It's awesome, but the thing is, if you are looking outside of your company for talent, then why are you looking in this direction where somebody's happy? Why don't you go to somebody else who perhaps you can groom
Isn't
to be
doing
the
well.
talent?
Yes, yes,
Not the
yes.
one that's not
Listen,
doing well. We don't want a miserable person
yeah,
on our team.
uh-uh, uh-uh. Like,
I was an owner broker for 10 years. I can tell you
oh,
right now how, the last 3 years alone, it was not fun. I
of the owning
started
your own
the
brokerage.
company to be fun, and
Yeah.
I should have closed in my seventh year. And then, like you just mentioned before, you got insurance, you got fees, multiple listing fees. They even said to me, my insurance company, we need to impose upon you a terrorism insurance. And I said,
Oh,
terrorism insurance?
what the heck?
Who's going to come in here in a small little town and do
Oh
something
my
bad to my real
God.
estate office? It
Yeah,
got to the point where there was no longer fun.
I
And
know.
as the
I know.
company grew and grew, and I closed it in 2007, I saw the wave of the crash coming because I gauged it
Oh,
upon how many uh, closed files we had, how many drawers in the file cabinet. We used to have 4 drawers in this file cabinet, and it was consistent for for 6 7 years. I remember going to my secretary and saying, "How much do I have in my checking account?" She used to do my books as well. She goes, "You got over $100,000 in your checking account." Wow, that's awesome. After all is said and done, I got 100,000 I can play with. And you know what? I did play with it. I bought property. I bought a condo in
yeesh.
Florida. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
invested it
Before
into
the crash.
properties before the crash.
Uh-oh.
And
Did you
I
get
got to tell
hammered?
you, they survived. They survived the crash.
Oh, good.
But I knew that if I stayed open in as a real estate office, I said, I won't survive this. So I closed it
Wow.
down on December 31st, 2007, put the key in the door, and I said, I will never be a broker again. I
Yeah.
actually
I mean, you
said
made the
that to
smart
myself.
move.
And guess
Yeah.
what? I'm never going to be a broker again because brokers today have it very hard. You can be a broker and get
Not worth it.
100% of that commission, but you got 100% responsibility.
And
And
stress
my
and
father
anxiety and headaches.
Oh my goodness. And my father
Yeah.
used to say that you want to be the boss? Well, remember, the boss is the horse that draws the carriage. And that
Yeah.
carriage sometimes is heavy and
Yeah.
sometimes it's light, but it's still a carriage. It's still a noose
Yeah.
around your neck. And you know what? He's gone. I'm still alive. And I realized that in 2007 that it was time to take the noose off my neck.
I like that. I like that because you got to think about it. At the end of the day, you know what I mean. We can still do basically whatever we want, right? As long as we're being ethical, abiding by the laws and everything. You know what I
Right.
mean. We do whatever we want. Like we don't have a boss
And who
breathing down
cares
our
you
neck.
have a
Like
broker? Who
Yeah,
cares that you have a
they don't.
broker? The
Yeah,
broker in
they
our
help.
world
They
is
only help.
actually our
I'm
business
friends with my brokers.
partners. You know,
Yeah,
they want
exactly.
us to
Yeah,
succeed, but they're
yeah.
not like watchdogs. You know,
No,
all
no,
this
no, no,
thing
no,
about being a
not at all.
broker is all egocentric.
I know. Yeah,
You
I'll
know,
tell you this. It's so cool because like my broker, I'm gonna shout her out, Annabelle. My broker is amazing. She like exactly what you said. She doesn't breathe down my neck or anything like that. She watches my back. She's like, oh Andy, you just did this that was incorrect, or you did that was wrong.
just stay
Fix it immediately.
compliant,
Let's
right?
like help you fix it. Like she helps me and stuff. Like I'm like, oh my god, I made a mistake. Like whoops, let me fix that. And she's been doing that for years and helping me out, and to the point where I'm hopefully not making any more mistakes now. But if I do, she's always going to be there to help me out. You know what I mean? And I love that support and everything. So yeah, I mean, I personally think it's just
And there
foolish
is a
to,
lot of support, and we give the support too. You know, I have a team. It's called North Star, and it's at EXP Realty, and I manage and successfully train the agents that are in North Star, and I give them the support. And I
yeah,
call my North Star a teaching team. You learn
yeah, because it
here,
is.
you franchise it out. Who knows? And that's my direction. I'm going to be franchising North Star. I have one team in
Oh,
Florida. I have one here in New York. I'm trying to branch out in Denver and in Dallas and Chicago, and that will be my
that's
retirement in the next few
yeah.
years.
I like that. So I mean, I'm it's so funny you said that too because I'm doing the same thing. I just came up with the Andy Coleman team. I just put my name on. I was like, what, whatever. I don't have a creative name right now, so just the Andy Coleman team. So I have that here in Florida. I'm actually opening one up in New York, an Andy Coleman team in New York as well. I'm doing the exact same thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's fun because look, we both
Well, we
we
can
both have
teach the
different.
world how to retire, right?
Exactly. Yeah, because we have, listen, in my opinion, it's not like a competition. There's enough wealth, there's enough success, there's enough food to go around for everybody that wants it. You know what I mean? If you're hungry enough, I mean, there's plenty out there for everybody. So I'm not like threatened by people. I like networking and partnering with people and bouncing ideas off people. And everybody that does that together, they come up together, they grow together. We use each other as idea boards, bouncing off ideas and everything, and promoting each other, on social medias. Like you got to
Correct.
think about it. MrBeast. I don't know if you know. Do you know MrBeast on YouTube?
No.
Big biggest YouTuber alive, I believe. He has like I
Oh,
don't
I
know.
gotta look him up now.
Mr. Beast is the biggest. He has over 100 million subscribers. He probably has like I don't know
Really?
150 million at this
I
point,
haven't seen
more than
him.
like most a small country or a big country actually. And he always says this. He's like, I don't understand why other YouTubers don't like collaborate with each other and share secrets, a little bit more because that's what he did. He like collaborated, shared secrets. Like he was like had formed a little think tank, with other YouTubers, and then they started promoting each other and like helping each other out and stuff. And then all of them grew together. And he was like, the ones that didn't do that, they're stuck in the dust left behind. So I love that philosophy. Once he said that, I heard him say that like, I don't know, 2 years ago, year ago. And I was like, oh my God, Mr. Beast is a genius. I'm going to do the exact same thing for real
Is
estate in
this
my
him right
businesses.
here?
That's him. That's Mr. Beast right there. That's
That's
him. That's
Mr.
Mr. Beast.
Beast?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, he's a genius. He's young too. He's like
Wow, he's got
24 years old.
one YouTube
Exactly.
video, 76 million views.
Million. So, that's a small one
Oh,
for him. I mean, some of them have like I think 500 million views. Some of them. I mean, this dude is just he is the best YouTuber alive and just a genius and a very smart and like talented guy. But like his advice that he gives, like you don't have to just use it for YouTube. You can apply it to your other businesses that you do because he's smart. He knows what he's talking about. So like that's what I love doing too. Because you always talk about teaching and everything, and I learn from a lot of different people that not necessarily are like in my life like a Mr. Beast. I'll listen to
right.
people that make sense on YouTube or a podcast or something. I love YouTube personally. That's like my
I
jam
love
right
Ed
there.
Milet.
That's
I've been watching a lot of Ed Milet. Um,
yeah.
and
I
I
would
got to tell you, he's a real he's a thinker, and he gets to the
yeah.
heart of me. He really does.
I've heard a bunch of his stuff too, and actually recently, a Ty Lopez. Have you heard of Ty Lopez?
Yes, yes,
He just came
he's
back to
good.
social media.
Yeah.
Oh, he was gone for like over a year, just came back or 2 years or whatever, and he's like pumping out fire now. And I'm like, oh my God, because I never listened to him a couple years ago, and I just started listening to him. Like this guy's a genius. The way he talks about making a brand for yourself and branding your social media content and everything. I'm like, holy crap, here's what I was missing, and then that's kind of they give a lot of good philosophies that you can apply to other things. You know what I mean? Like not just social media, but like to your real estate business, if you're a realtor, like branding yourself and getting leads that way or attracting agents. I mean, like, I don't know. Me personally, I think like now is the best time to be alive, obviously, because our technology is so incredible. Our opportunities are so incredible. Like, I don't know. I really feel like the future is so bright right now. Like, what are your plans coming up for the future right now with the AI and everything you were talking about and like
Well,
all the social media?
I'm
What's your
writing a
plans?
book.
Yeah.
I'm writing a book that I hope will inspire people to stay in the business and get educated on, the story. How, nobody knows. Everyone knows the success, but they don't know the struggle to that success. Everyone
Yeah.
says, "Hey, you're successful. You're rich. You're loaded." And I hate when they say that because they don't know. They don't have my bills. Because if they had my bills, I wish I had their bills because then I could pay them. But if they had my bills, they'd be broke. Uh,
It's
they
funny you said
don't
that. I just
know
had to
the
pay.
struggle. What?
Joe, I just had to because no end of the month, beginning of the month, I always pay my bills, and I had to pay 20 grand this month for my bills, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like what the hell is
I
going
just
on right
paid
now?
$9,300 in just property taxes alone.
I know, like it's listen, like I know everybody always says, oh, you're making all this money and stuff, but you gotta pay a lot of money too, so it's not
Sure,
all
sure.
and all the
Money in
failures
and
and
money out,
struggles.
and don't count my money is what I tell people because you don't
Yeah,
want my headaches because I'll give you all my headaches as well that go along with the money. Um,
I
but
gotta
then
say though, I gotta
getting
say
back,
this
what?
just to add to that though, with the headaches and stuff like that, I gotta say I've never been me personally, I've never been happier. Yes, I this is the most money I've ever been making, right now. But I've also never been happier because I'll tell you why. Because I'm doing stuff that I absolutely love. I go to bed with a smile on my face. I cannot wake up, or sorry, I can't wait to wake up the next morning, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh my god, I get to wake up and like go to work right now. And like to me, it's not even work because I love what I do. So there's a saying: if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, and that's what I feel
Right.
every single
And
day.
I
And
do,
I
and
don't
that's
even,
why I'm in the
yeah,
game still for
yeah,
after all this time.
because you're
It's
doing it
because
35 years.
well, I don't treat it like as if it's the 35th year. I treat it as if it's the first year of
Yeah,
excitement, that glow, that I want to help people attitude. I don't sit here and count my money and go, oh, okay, I need this amount of money per month. A lot of agents, they chase the
yeah.
money and not the
Don't do that.
transaction, not even the
Exactly.
relation. They just
Relationship.
chase money all day long. And I say to
Bad.
myself, just Ricky Caruth's philosophy is my philosophy. Get
Yeah.
the relationship, the money will
Yes.
follow. I
Yes.
remember my first broker telling me that, just go out there and do the business and the money will follow. So I did the
Yeah.
business. I knocked on plenty of doors. My first 3 weeks, I got 14 listings just by the
Jeez.
relationship alone, and
Woo.
I'm a lister, and I that's my claim to fame. And when I'm
What's
an
your technique?
instructor,
What's your technique now? Because look,
what?
all the agents like listening right now, because I know it's a bad seller's market right now. So what's your technique for getting listings now, like today?
Knock on every friggin' door you can and add to your CRM and talk to people and talk to them the way you wish to be spoken, not like a salesperson. You go there, is there anything in the world I can do for you? Is there anything, the house down the street sold? I just want to give you the stat on it. I just want to give you a market update report. I'm not just knocking on your door because I asking if you want to sell. I'm asking, I'm giving you information. And people see that as a sales tactic. There is no tactic, there's no trick to what we do when we're successful. It's how we deliver, how we speak to people. Watch your
Yeah.
verbiage.
Yeah.
If you come
Because
across
you're,
as a salesman and you sound
yeah.
like one, you will be coming across as a salesman and sound like one to the public. You
Yeah.
know,
Because that's
that's
the
why I
thing.
never
Because
told myself.
you're confident. You know your abilities. You
Totally,
know you can do a better job than the
totally.
next person that's going to knock on
Yeah,
the door.
I
And
was
listen.
questioned by another agent who told me that she had a certain amount of years of experience and she was very unprofessional on a simple rental that we could have had it done within 24 hours.
Boom.
But
Yeah.
she
Oh, I've had so many of
complicated
those.
everything. It was
Oh
like
God.
she
Hate
stuck
those.
her hands in the cookie jar
Oh. Oh.
and mixed the glue together and came
Oh.
out with goo and and
Yeah.
it was so frustrating. And then she says to me, "Don't I've been in this business so many years." I said, "Listen
Oh,
to
I've
me.
heard
If
that
you're
so many
going to
times.
put your years
Yeah.
up against me,"
Yeah. Don't
I
do
said,
that.
"there's
Yeah.
no
Don't do that.
comparison." But
Yeah.
if
And
we
that's not,
work
that's stupid too. It's a
right, if we
stupid.
work
I hate when they
right,
say that. I
if
hate
we
that.
work
It doesn't matter how many
together,
years you've been doing this. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't give
Exactly.
I don't care if you're in the business 3,000 years
Doesn't
or
matter.
3,000
Irrelevant.
hours. You
Irrelevant.
have to remain professional because the
Yeah.
consumer sees us. They
I know.
watch
And listen,
us,
it's I
they
love that you
watch
just
us.
said that because it's get the deal done and move on. And this was stuck because right when I started doing real estate, my one of my friends, Daniel, he told me, he said, Andy, he's like, get the deal done and move on to the next one. And that's literally like stuck in my head since like this was probably like the first week of when I got into real estate. And I remembered that. And all these agents that exactly what you said, they said, oh, I've been doing this 40 years and this and that. And I'm like, why are you making this difficult for both of us and the seller, the tenants agent or whatever, sorry, listing agent, or no, I'm messing this up, or the landlord, or my tenant. I'm like, why are you doing this to both of us? You're making
At
things
that point,
difficult
I
and
just want to
complicated.
go like this. I want to go, let me shake the dust off of you if you've been doing this so many years. Because you know
Yeah.
what? In you telling me that, you are personifying that you have been doing this such a long time that you've gotten complacent in your job. As a
Oh
real
yeah.
estate agent, you become complacent
And I'll
because
tell you, it's
if
funny. It's
you
funny.
stop
Listen to this.
working and collaborating with
Oh
me.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Listen to this, and I do this as a matter of fact. I go and look them up in my MLS because you could do a reverse search on anybody in your MLS, and I was like, I just want to see if this person's doing well. You know what I mean? And never, literally never. I've never worked with somebody that's been difficult to me before, and they've never been successful. None of them, not zero of them have been successful. So like, and I'm like, this cannot be a coincidence that you're making this complicated, making this difficult, making this drag on more time than it needs to be, because then you don't have time to do more deals and help more people. It's all about helping people. Like the more people you can help, the more deals you're going to get done, the more money you're going to make. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole thing. I love
Yeah.
your philosophy and Ricky's philosophy about relationships first. I have a very similar one that if you love what you do, you have a passion for something, and you just go out there and you do it the best you can, the money will come. It's a consequence of you actually performing and doing your duties. And I hate saying
And
the
if you
word like
don't enjoy
job.
what you do, then get out of the business.
Exactly. Try something
Seek
else.
another, either you seek another culture or you seek another profession and you just go ahead and do. I prefer people to leave the industry and to go somewhere else or leave the team or leave this, leave the
Yeah.
company because you
Do
know
something you
what?
like.
You're in the space with me. And either you're taking up too much space, which you're bitching and screaming about what the drama is just incredible, or you know what? I like to be empowered by people who are powerful, and I
Yeah.
want to be in that circle. I want to
Yeah.
know I want to know what it took for you to be successful, and I want to know the struggle because a lot of people
We
don't
could
talk about
learn.
their struggles. They only talk
I
about
know.
their success route. But I want
That's
to
why I
know
like putting.
I want to know how you ate a TV dinner one night because you couldn't afford it on your way to success.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Because listen, like a lot of the time, well, especially on social media, a lot of people just put out their wins and successes, like you're saying, and that I think I'm gonna do more of that. Is because I started dabbling around with like some of my bad experiences that I've had, and I've had countless bad experiences. Like
Well,
it's not
let's talk
about how
about
you
that.
handle.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about
Oh, do
that.
you want to hear? So like one of my
What I'm
worst.
saying is get that out to the people who
Yeah.
think our profession, right? The newbies, the people that are joining us in real estate, get that message out to them so that they don't think that we're some sort of an HGTV show with overnight stardom. I
Yeah.
never
Takes.
thought in
Yeah.
my life, Andy, that I would ever wear a shirt with my company name, my logo on it. I never
Yeah.
thought, see, I'm proud. I wear this shirt. I have like 4 or 5 of these in different
Yeah.
colors, right? But I wear this proudly
Yeah. Yeah.
because, you
Cause
know what I mean? I wear it proudly because I
yeah,
know
well,
what it took to get this shirt,
I
you
know, I
know?
know. Okay, listen, what I always tell people is, it's not supposed to be easy. Success is not supposed to be easy. Like, if it was easy, everybody would be filthy rich, walking around with $100 bills coming out of their ears. It's
Right.
not. It's literally supposed to be hard. That's what separates the
The
winners from the
billionaires
losers.
from the
It,
losers,
it,
right?
it, it truly does. And like, it's funny too. Like, I had an agent the other day, and they were complaining to me, because I taught them my rental system, and they were complaining that they turned one of their renters into a buyer. It was like, they got like an $8,000 commission from that. And then I was like, well, what's the problem? I'm like, you just got an $8,000 from a renter. And I'm like, how many other deals did you get in a contract last week? She's like, oh, 3 deals. And I'm like, why are you complaining right now? I'm like, you're gonna make $13,000 in a week. I'm like, what are you complaining about? And she was like, oh, it was difficult. She was like, oh, there was this problem and that problem and that problem. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what do you think's gonna happen? When you're doing a bit, because we're entrepreneurs. Any real estate agent, is an entrepreneur. We're not a 9 to 5 job. We have our own. It's our own business. And
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
oh my God. Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about right now? It wasn't easy. I'm like making $12,000 shouldn't be easy in a week. I'm like, it should be hard. Like if it is easy, you're doing something wrong and you're probably not successful. You know what I mean?
Listen,
Like it
I
just
was one of those 9 to 5ers. I clocked in at the most, but all those experiences taught me that I took the bus, with people. I would watch them, and I would, I worked in a church when I was younger. I worked in a church for 6 years, and I have this in my latest documentary. I did a documentary going back to Brooklyn, and I remembered the gate where I was working in. It was almost like, and I put my hands at the gate like this in the church, and I looked down and I saw my friends all go to play softball. Well, I worked at a tender age of 12 years old, and I remember
jeez.
how I felt, and I felt like I was in jail holding that gate,
Yeah. Oh
holding
yeah.
the
I've
bars
done a
of the
lot.
gate. And I
I've
said
done
to
a lot of
myself,
these
and I
nine to
said,
fives.
I want to be rich. I
There you
want
go.
to have an easier life. But when you're rich, when you're making the money that you have, right? Like we're both very successful entrepreneurs. But is there another level that we want to be at?
Always.
Like, do you
Always.
want to be filthy rich with a boat, a
Yes.
yacht, and all the toys that go with,
Private
being
jets. Yeah.
filthy rich?
Yeah,
You
and
want a
that's not
private
for
jet?
yeah, and that's not for everybody either. Like there's
No.
certain people, like even my brother. I love my brother, you know what I mean? But and he's doing well right now. I think I don't want to, say, but he's doing well right now, and he's happy. He's got a
Yeah, I'm
family. He's
happy.
happy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, he's happy.
happy.
Like he
I
doesn't
can
want,
honestly
like, a
say
lot
to
of
you,
people
I'm
don't want.
happy. I'm
Exactly. Like,
happy.
as long as you're happy, that's really
I
what
am.
matters. But
Like
it's
if you
different
have a
personalities.
plane, a private plane, you come to New York and you pick me up and you bring me back to Florida,
There you go.
I'd
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
great. I didn't
Do it
have to
yourself.
pay for
Yeah.
this private
I
plane.
know.
But my
Yeah.
friend Andy took me on a private plane, and I'll take him for a nice steak dinner in New
Exactly,
York.
exactly.
You know
Like
what I
like
mean?
like that's the crazy part, like it's like it's not for everybody. Like becoming a billionaire is not for everybody. That's my goal. I don't know if I told you this, but like my ultimate goal, I want to become a billionaire. Like I see people like what's his name? Grant Cardone, right? Grant Cardone, right?
Oh,
I
sure.
see I see guys like Grant Cardone, and he's a billionaire, and I'm like, what? I love him. I think he's super funny. I think he's very clever, and he did a really good business strategy with Cardone Capital and all the stuff he does. And I'm like, listen, if he can do it, I can do it too. Like it's such for me, it's such an inspiration. I hate how there's like haters out there and people that get envious
Sure.
and jealous and stuff. That is disgusting, a
Now
disgusting
you know
mentality to
why
me.
the billionaires have their own little billionaires club. And
Yeah,
and and the more successful a person becomes, the friends that he or she has had in their life start to dissipate
I
because
know.
they're not on the same level anymore. Look, I'm a very charitable person. In fact, in 2024, I'm going to give away a scholarship of education
Woo.
for somebody to be a real estate entrepreneur. and I might just give away 2 scholarships. I haven't decided yet, but
Do it. Do
it's
two.
been my desire to pay it forward to a student and then create like a little apprentice type of thing where watching them for about, a year in the business in our company and see which two become successful and have the most
Ooh.
volume. And at the end of the year, the one who has the most volume in a year can either join our team, or I'll show them how to create a team within our company.
Man,
I
I love
want
that.
to give back to the community, because I think there's a lot of kids that don't go to college and that are
Oh,
crying out for,
college.
the
Oof.
next best thing. What can I do? I'm not going to put 50, $60,000 a year in a college tuition that I'm not going to do anything with, or college education.
Exactly.
I was an English major in my and I went to
Little,
college on a
little,
scholarship.
yeah, a little waste there, huh?
And well, I was put up in
What language do you
philosophy.
speak? You speak English. What are you going to college
I
to
was
speak
an
more
English
English?
literature. I but
Oh,
you know what? I use my Shakespeare. I use
you
my
do? Yeah.
Shakespeare.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I use
Was
my
it worth 200
Thoreau.
grand?
I use.
Was it worth
It
200
took
grand?
me. It was free. It was free. It was a
Oh,
scholarship.
scholarship, scholarship.
But
Okay, okay, okay.
in real estate, the philosophies that I grew up with in college, I use them in real estate, and I talk to people like they want to be, spoken to. And
Man,
I
I
I'm I'm enjoying I'm
I have a
enjoying this life thoroughly.
yeah, I have a
Thoroughly.
different philosophy on college altogether. Listen, me personally, I got my 2 year degree, what's that called? The associates, I guess. And then I stopped after that. I just got like a business degree, and I was like, you know what, this is just not for me. I did it for my parents. I really just did it for my parents. I was like, I can't do it
Likewise.
anymore. I couldn't. I was like, you know what,
Well, my
this is not for
parents
me. I
told
don't.
me that you need a college education. They always
That's my
told me,
parents. Me too.
right?
And listen,
So
for some people, I
I'm
agree.
one of 7 children, and I'm one of
Whoa,
3.
gee,
I'm
7.
3 of 7 children that got a
Wow,
college degree.
that's
So
amazing.
when my parents instilled that in me, and that's what I ran with. But then in
Yeah.
retrospect, I say to myself, if you know
Mm,
what you're going to do, if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur,
you don't
you
need
really
college.
don't need a
You don't
college
need it.
education.
Here's the thing,
If you want to go
college,
for
listen,
marketing,
yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah, like there's things you can learn in college, but I personally think college is the best for networking and meeting people, right? Like, that's the and partying,
If you
all
go to
that kind of
if
stuff
you
is
no, if
fun
you're
and good
gonna get a
for the right
degree,
college. Yeah, like a
in
degree is
or a
just kind of like,
specialization in something, yeah.
oh yeah.
Did you
If you
know
want to be a
there's a
lawyer
real
or a doctor,
estate
have to.
did you know there's a real estate degree?
No, I didn't know that actually, and
People
that
can
seems
major in
worthless.
real estate,
Yeah, that
yeah,
seems absolutely worthless to me.
and it's worthless.
There's
It's worthless.
worthless,
We
100%
have
worthless.
degrees, you and I.
Yeah, I get. Oh yeah, I mean, geez, I mean, yeah,
You have a
let
degree
me
in
open up a
rental
college.
productivity,
Yeah,
I have a
I'll
degree in
open up a
sales
real.
productivity.
We should open up a real estate college, get the best in our industries, best in our niches, and open up a real
Learn
estate
from
college,
Andy
and then do
Coleman, learn from
yeah,
Joe
right,
Sinnona,
and Joe yeah, and then Ricky Carruth and everybody else
and
out
bring
there, Juan
Ricky
Carlos.
Carruth in there and
Yeah,
all the other
right. That
successful
should
partners.
be what it is. Because listen, at the end of the day, listen, college is great and everything like that. Like especially if you want to be like a doctor or lawyer or something like that, where you have to get a college degree. That's all fine and dandy. Like an accountant, you know what I mean, to be a CPA, you got to go to college for those kind of things. But that's why I'm saying it's not for everybody. If you want to be an entrepreneur, start your own business, it's
That's
kind
correct.
of a waste a little bit, unless you're going to like a cheaper college where you're just doing it like in the mindset, I'm going to be networking, doing my thing on the side. That's all good and well. But like right now, like people that go and spend 200 grand on college and then get out and don't use their degree, why did you just waste $200,000 of your
Right.
money and 4 years of your life when you
Well,
could have been out there in the real world, getting your real world experience, learning from your mistakes and failures, and then actually succeeding on your own, or learning from like somebody else, like a coach, or like, taking a program, like getting a mentor, you know what I mean? Like, and then maybe even like trailing them, like going and doing like a doctor, for example. Listen to this. This is crazy. So once you finish your like 12 years of school for being a doctor, I don't know what that is. I'm exaggerating there, but then you go and do your residency, right? Where you're going for like 4 years or 5 years, whatever the heck it is. And you're actually trailing a doctor. You're following them around, and you got to learn in the real world. Like, why don't we have that? You know what I mean? Like, why is that just for doctors? Like, that's how you really learn, is real world experiences. So that just, I don't know. Me personally, like, because
to
I
answer
like
that
college and
question,
everything. Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have that in our professions because our professions are the least respected in the United States. Forbes
Really?
magazine
I didn't know
put
that.
us at number 14 least respected profession.
It's interesting. We're
And
the happiest profession, though. Did you see
what?
that? The Forbes also ranked us the happiest profession.
We're the happiest profession.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
and
interesting.
and you know what? People are looking at our profession now, and they're going after our professions to go
Oh
after big
God, I
companies like
know.
the recent
Oh
NAR,
God. Oh my God. Oh my
lawsuit.
God.
And I'm
Let's
sitting there
chat.
and I'm
Yeah.
shaking my head because people are saying, let's get rid of NAR. How do we get rid of NAR when NAR upholds and defends the code of
Ethics.
ethics?
I
How
know.
do we
I
do
know.
that?
What do you
If
think
we
about
got
this whole
rid of
thing?
NAR tomorrow, which I would never ever want to vote for that ever. And I've seen this all over the internet in the last 48 hours alone. Um, that would mean that we have to get rid of our code of ethics. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I live and breathe by the code of ethics.
Yeah. It keeps
All of us
everybody
do.
honest. I
All
know.
of us
I
do.
know. Yeah. It
And
keeps
we work
everybody
to
honest.
a higher standard of our practice. And
We'd be
our
going
practice
backwards.
demands professionalism.
I
The
think so.
consumer
So
is wanting all right, you know what? You got the lawsuit, you got all the millions of dollars. Now let's
oh,
get back to work, NAR, and let's start educating
well,
the
first of
real
all,
estate
there. Well,
community.
this whole lawsuit thing, I know it just got settled yet was yesterday, right? Or the day before.
Yeah,
Which is crazy. And then by the way, did you know they just opened up new lawsuits? They just
yeah,
sued EXP, Compass,
that's okay.
Redfin. I mean, it's just disgusting. It's literally disgusting what
That's
they're doing right
okay.
now.
It's a money
But
grab.
I know these lawyers got $800 million or something stupid like that, some
Yeah,
stupid, ridiculous
it's a
number.
money
When are we
grab.
gonna sue the lawyers? You know what I mean? Like, well, how the hell
That's
do
a
they get this
story
much
for
money?
another day, Andy.
Right? Like, I mean, come on. Like this whole case, and first of all, the defense for the actual NAR, I didn't watch it myself. I just heard comments saying the defense was pathetic. Like they didn't do a good job defending themselves. And did you watch that at all? Like, is that true?
You know what? I stay out of a lot of issues. I don't live in a glass bubble, but when I get the news and I hear all of these frivolous lawsuits that are everywhere now
I thought it was frivolous.
in our profession, and I call it frivolous
Yeah,
because you know
I
what?
thought so.
Our lawyers need to be a little bit more sharper. They need to be a little bit more on the ball, and they
Yeah,
must allow inclusion. And when I say inclusion is that they get the top companies in the country and the top
yeah.
companies advise the lawyers on how to make laws and make them,
Well, they
work
didn't
for
do a good
us.
job. They really didn't do a good job because they lost. At the end of the day, they lost the
They
lawsuit,
lost,
so they
but
could
they're
not have
in
done a good
appeal. They're
job.
going to be in appeal process for years. Watch.
Good, good. But
You'll
well, here's
see.
the thing though. What do you think about this whole, like? I mean, do you think it was because they said they were like, oh, they were colluding to keep the commissions at 6% and this and that, and then the
I
sellers
don't
paying?
know.
What do you
I
think about
wasn't
that?
there when I wasn't working alongside of those
No,
agents.
no, no,
I,
not that. Just the whole in general. How do you feel about having the sellers have to pay the full commission to the buyer's agent and the seller's agent? What do
I
you think
think
about that?
that when I first started in the business, there was no buyer brokerage. There
Oh,
was
there
you
wasn't?
worked for the seller, and that was
Oh,
all you worked for.
oh, this is interesting news. I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
explain this
all
to
you
me.
worked
What?
for. And in
Oh,
1992, 93, then came buyer brokerage throughout the land. And it kind of, it didn't sit well with me, I remember. I remember having to adapt to two kinds of working styles, either work for the buyer or work for the seller. As a
oh,
listing agent, I work for the seller. And I can tell you that I prefer to work for the seller. I prefer to treat a buyer as a customer, and my fiduciary goes to my seller, and my seller is the one who pays me.
yeah. So that changed, you're saying, in 92, 93. So
Around
then what happened
92,
with buyer
93 with
so
buyer brokerage. But
the buyer
now
brokerages?
now buyer brokerage is no longer, the flavor. It
Yeah.
was the flavor back then, but now everybody's saying, well, we're not going to pay a buyer broker. Well, you can go that route and not pay a buyer broker
So
and
wait, how did that
force
work back then? Hold on, I'm a little confused still. How did that work back,
there was no
before
buyer
that happened?
brokerage.
So it's like what? So like you like the agent would represent the buyer and the seller
The
simultaneously?
agent would represent the seller, and then when buyer brokerage came into
No,
play,
before that. Before that.
we, we only had one client, the seller.
Seller. But who bought the house? Somebody had to buy the house.
The buyer bought the house. The buyer was the
Well, who
customer.
represented the buyer? Who represented the buyer back
Nobody.
then?
Nobody.
Nobody represented them?
And that's why buyer brokerage was born, because the buyer agents, they would say, well, wait a minute, the buyers need representation. And
Oh.
every state in the country started to adapt to buyer brokerage.
Oh.
Every commission was put out there, and they said, you know what, we got to implement buyer brokerage.
But
My Department of State in New York implemented buyer brokerage. But
what
what
was the
they
commission split? What was the commission split
it was always
back
50
before?
50. It was
Oh,
always a
okay, so it's
50
50.
50. You took
But
a
before
loaf of
that,
bread, and I'll use that as an example because
yeah.
we can't talk
But
about commissions, but it was
yeah.
always the loaf of bread in one half for you, one half for me.
Well, before that though, before the 50-50, what was the actual percentage that was given to the listing, the seller's agent? What was the percentage? Was it
The
6%
seller's
still?
agent, the seller's agent would get with the broker 50 50.
No, no, before that. Before that. What did the seller's agent get before they did that?
50 a quarter of the pie, if because everything was all split in quarters, like it's supposed to be all the time,
So
but they all had a
5%?
quarter. They all had a quarter percentage.
Quarter. Oh, wait. So you're saying they got
Because
point two
whoever,
five?
let's say you and I were selling the house and we had
I'm saying
our
this.
brokers,
So
I
I'm saying
would
this. So like,
be I would
no,
be
no,
the sub
no.
agent to the seller. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So look. So before the buyer's brokers came into play, let's say your first year of doing real estate, when you represented a seller, when there was no buyer brokers, did you get 6% of the commission yourself?
I would always get six. I would always get, some instances we would get seven.
Wow.
We
So
would
it's
get
always
seven.
been okay. Okay, that's what I want to wrap my head around. Is that it's always been 6 or 7%. It's never been 3%, and then you just
Correct.
doubled it
And I'll
once the buyer
say,
brokers came in.
because we can't talk
Wow.
about this,
Wow.
because it's an antitrust violation, I'll say seashells. I would get six seashells or seven seashells.
Wait, we can't talk about commissions. What is it? What do you
No,
mean?
no, this
Wait,
is
why
a
not?
violation of antitrust.
To
So
do
we can't we
to
can't talk about how we can talk about it if we're on a deal together, but talk about commissions and how we go forward with those. That's a violation of antitrust.
So
So
if I
I'll
said
say
let's
lollipops. How about lollipops? You like lollipops?
yeah, it's crazy how that thing works. But so if I said if I
But
said if
you know
I'm
what?
curious,
But you know what? To be continued, because I think that right now the educational piece has to be enforced in your association as my association, and we have to move on with our standard of practice. Right? We
yeah.
all have to have a standard of practice. We have to adapt to that standard of practice, and then that becomes the policy, and then we will
So what do you think?
implement whatever we need
What
to
do you think the
implement.
policy moving forward is going to be now that, I know there's going to be appeals and everything, but do you think it's going to go back to the old days where the listing agent will get 6% and then the buyer's agent, what do you think is going to happen now?
I honestly, I won't comment on it yet, because I think what is necessary and what is needed is the educational portion of this conversation that hasn't been quite, like, nobody, they're rewriting forms, they're rewriting textbooks now. As a
Oh,
result, do you know how much money, like when we say this is a money grab, it's not just a
yeah.
money grab for the sellers that sued. It's a money
Uh,
grab for every association that now has to redo a lot of its work in educating agents like us, and educating agents that come after us.
but I heard that no actual law has been changed yet. It was just a payout. Like they don't
Not
have to
yet,
like
not
stop
yet.
giving buyers, right? Like
It's
they don't
just,
have to stop the buyers commissions yet.
You know what happened? I'll use a metaphor. The stone has been thrown into the lake,
Mm,
and the ring has made around. That's the lawsuit, and now
yeah.
you're going to see the ripple effects of
So in
this lawsuit.
in my mind, as long as listing agents, as long as listing agents tell the seller, hey, seller, you know what? Because remember this is what I always think, right? There's going to be listing agents, there's going to be buyer's agents. And guess what? The listing agent is going to be a buyer's agent at some point, right? They're not going to
Yeah,
just do
yeah.
listings forever. I mean, eventually they're going to also work with some buyers, I'm sure. Like some of them won't, you know what I mean? Some of them are only listing agents, but a lot of agents, they're going to do both. You know what I mean? They do both. So like you do both, I do both, like we all do both. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, I haven't even
if
talked about dual agency because,
yeah,
again,
full transaction
I just
broker.
want to
Yeah.
observe how associations are going to handle this, how they're going to seek to educate the
Well, I
agents,
think I
you know?
think in my mind, what I think is going to happen is, they might actually put zero. You could put zero in the MLS, but who cares? You could have put $1 before that. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could have just put $1. So I don't think it changes. Me personally, I don't think it changes anything. If the listing agent just tells the seller, hey, seller, if we don't give a fair commission to the buyer's agent who does most of the work anyways, like let's be honest, like everybody likes doing listings. I like doing listings because they're easier. It's easier than being a buyer's agent. Like
But
it's
if you
it's more
don't
it's more work.
properly compensate the person that sold the property,
Then they're not going to work.
you're cutting them out of the equation,
Yeah, they're not
and
going to
you're
work. They're not
limiting
going to
the
do the work.
number of opportunities that a
Yeah,
buyer's agent could really have.
I
And
know.
but you see, it has to be in the spirit of collaboration.
Yeah, because it's
It
it's
goes
so
back to
interesting
that.
because yeah, because if they
There's
go
no
back.
collaboration, there's nothing.
Exactly, because if you take away the buyer's agents at this point, then it goes back to the way it was before, where the buyers are not represented, and then the buyers are going to get screwed. Which
Right.
I mean, oh my god, that would be awful for buyers. Like then it's going to be the wild wild west. Buyers are going to be getting screwed over left and right. You don't want that. Like you want to make it better, not worse. So I
Right.
personally think that listen, if they're going to allow listing agents to give 0% commission, that's fine, that's okay. But when if they start doing that, you're just not going to have buyers that are going to want to work those properties, and those houses that do that, they're going to be sitting on the market for 30, 60,
Well,
90,
I
100,
think,
200 days.
listen, I believe that everything happens for a reason. Maybe this is a reason for to shake things up in the housing market across the United States. Maybe I don't know. I time will tell before we see the ripple effect of what
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
on October 31st. I gotta go.
Halloween, funny. Yeah.
Because
We've probably been
not
doing this for
because of
a
the
long time.
topic, but
Yeah,
because I have another appointment. But I
of
really
course.
want to
Yeah,
thank you for having
of
me on your
course.
show.
Yeah, Joe.
I'll
Absolutely.
say this as a veteran agent, as someone who has seen a lot of stuff in this business. Um,
35 years.
and it's been a very interesting 35 years, and all highlighted in my book of how
What's your book
this.
called? What's your book called?
I don't have a title yet, but
Okay.
I
When's it
am working
dropping?
on it. What?
When's it dropping? When's it coming out?
I'm hoping the end of 2024.
Oh, good. Good, good, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And
hoping that I've toyed around with a lot of titles, but I just want to wait a little bit, just tell the stories, because there are a lot of stories of buyers out there. Some funny, some sad, some interesting, some weird, some weird stuff happened.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna
Along
buy it.
the way.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna read it. You know what I mean? I can't
It's
wait for that to happen. So
interesting.
wait.
It's
th-
interesting.
So
Maybe I'll call it. Maybe I will call it lead
what
to
do you
list. I don't know.
lead to it? All right. Well, we'll
I
come up
don't
with a
know.
good name.
Ricky had
Joe.
list
Yeah.
to last. Maybe I'll call mine lead.
Yeah. That could work really well. So Joe, but before you leave, just one piece of advice for a new agent right now, or a struggling agent. What's your one piece of advice for them to do right now to not be part of that 90% that gets kicked out of real estate?
Don't give up. Seek
Oh,
help.
I like that. I like that.
Find a mentor. Don't be a control freak, trying to control your destiny or trying to control your story. There's no shame in admitting failure. There's no shame in bringing extra help on. We're we're fighting a battle with ourselves half the time, and we need to get out of our own lane sometimes and admit failure. You know, I failed along the way. I failed along the way to become a successful agent. And there's nothing wrong with failure because you
It's
learn from
necessary.
those mistakes. You learn
Yeah.
from all of that.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that um,
You don't
I
fail unless you quit.
yeah, and you know what? A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits.
Ooh, love
And
that, Joe.
I
I
got
love
that
that,
from
Joe.
a TV show,
Well,
and
stick
when I
with that.
heard it,
That's a great saying.
yeah, I got that from the an old show called The Odd Couple,
I
and
like that.
Felix says that he it's like an affirmation when he says it. You
Yeah.
know, a quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. And when
Woo,
I
I
sit
like
there
that.
and I think about that, I think about every single solitary person that enters the real estate field, and you should always enter something with like a low aspiration so that as you build it up, you watch it grow. It's like
Oh, I
almost like
like that.
watching a flower.
Yeah, I
You're
like
going
that
to
a lot.
watch this
That's
beautiful flower bloom,
yeah.
and you hope to
That's
God that that flower never tilts to the left or the right, or dies, but you want it to continually bloom. Your business has to continually prosper because you're feeding it good stuff.
yeah.
And,
That
and
is
I always
incredible
learn, and
advice.
I always end my uh, lessons. This is why I always end my lessons with a mantra of learn only the good habits.
Yeah. Oh, you're full of wisdom and you're full of knowledge and helpful
I
tips and
hope I'm
everything,
not full
Joe.
of you know what.
No, 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 no. That's a lot of good. That's a lot of good advice that a lot of new agents can learn a lot from you. So, Joe, I know you got to go. So, thank you so much for coming on. Where can everybody find you? Where's your Instagram,
um,
YouTube? What do you?
I'm at Sinnona Speaks, and I'm also at Joe Sinnona Realtor. And I have a third one called EXP North Star. So anybody who wants to find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube coming.
Coming soon. Good, good, good,
Coming
good. Yeah,
soon
we're
because of
gonna work
you.
on that. That's good. Yes, that's amazing. Well, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank
For
you.
coming on.
Thank
I
you
mean,
for having
I
me.
learned a lot. I'm sure a lot of people learned a lot, and it was fascinating talking to you. I mean, geez, you've been doing this 35 years. That's so much experience, and you're not like one of these agents that just have done it, but made things difficult for people. You actually are a successful
No, no.
agent that has tons of agents under you right now that you can teach a lot of new agents to do amazing things. So thank you so much for coming on. Everybody
Thank
watching this right now, like the video, hit the subscribe button because still 75% of you are not subscribed to my channel. What the heck are you doing? Smash that subscribe button. And that's it. I'll catch everybody in the next one. All
Thank
right. That
you.
was pretty good, Joe. Yeah, we're done. That was a wrap.